Hey Doomers, May 31st. What's poppin'? Want to do a flash briefing right quick? Arnie says no one gives a sh about climate change. This is what it should be called instead. Quote, as long as they keep talking about global climate change, they're not going to go anywhere, because no one gives a sh about that, he said in an interview. We're talking about pollution. Pollution creates climate change, and pollution kills, he says. All right. While global investments in clean tech are increasing, not. Concern among Republicans. Only 23% Republicans, though, say it's a major threat. He says it's his life crusade. I'm going on a mission to go and reduce greenhouse gases worldwide as he's recording new films for and series for Netflix. Because he wants to have a healthy body and healthy earth. That's what I'm fighting for. That's my crusade. Okay, been on it for a while, Arnie. No one gives a shh. Because our bigger priorities are hard right vows to sink the deal before vote expected. Okay? These bumbling idiots who should be hanged by their testicles, including her, this is the kind of shit that we fight about, right? About work requirements for SNAP benefits, and if we had time to act and this deal fails completely, we'll do everything in our power to end it now. Everything's failing, you dumb idiot. Scott Perry, please go burn his house down. Please? These are our concerns. Work restrictions and SNAP benefits and so on, and student debt, repayments. Meanwhile, our planet's World Meteorological Association, otherwise known as WMO, makes an urgent call over melting cryosphere, published yesterday, warned Tuesday that glaciers and ice sheet melt in Greenland accounts for more than 50% of sea level rise, which is accelerating. Average thickness of world's glaciers has plummeted by almost 30%, 30 meters since 1970. It's a global issue. The irreversible changes in the global cryosphere will affect over 1 billion people who rely on water from snow and glacier melt. But these people. Yeah, you can see why the next generation is pretty apathetic to it all. How did we get here? Of such insane complexity, where the fossil fuel industry owes at least $23.2 trillion in reparations for climate change. That comes from Saudi Aramco, ExxonMobil, Shell, BP, and Chevron are the companies that owe the most for damages to the climate. New environmental research group One Earth estimates the world's top fossil fuel companies have emitted around 36% of all global emissions since 1988, or 403,000 metric tons of CO2. And for the first time, we used a methodology to quantify the economic impacts of individual companies' damage to climate. Estimates for the reparations are conservative, as they do not take into account factors including the lives and livelihood loss, species extinction, and biodiversity loss. Well, how can we quantify that? Okay. Global economic damages resulting from the climate crisis are projected to be $99 trillion between 2025 and 2050. And fossil fuels are responsible for $69.6 trillion of that. Around 1/3 of that number rests on fossil fuel companies, amounting to $23.2 trillion, or $893 billion annually. Yeah, there's no climate justice because these people. Meanwhile, meteorologists face unprecedented harassment from conspiracy theories, calling them murderers and criminals. We're watching you. Threats sent to meteorologists at Spain's National Weather Agency in recent months, but it's also happening here. Of deniers is not a phenomenon confined to Spain. National Weather Services, meteorologists, and climate communicators in countries from the US to Australia. I have not gotten death threats, thankfully, by this point. They've experienced an increase in threats and abuse, often around accusations that they are overstating or lying or even controlling the weather. Yep, we're controlling the weather. How smart. I can rest assured, though, that my subscribers have my back, and if any clown came to my channel, you guys would hop on him or her quickly. I do not like that stress. I'm just doing my job. Much of the trolling revolves around the rehashing of an old conspiracy theory called chemtrails. Users have posted images of blue skies crisscrossed with wispy white trails. They falsely claim the trails contain a cocktail of chemicals to artificially manipulate the weather, keeping rain and causing climate change. Airplanes do release vapor trails called contrails, short for condensation trails, which form when water vapor condenses into ice crystals around the small particles emitted by jet engines. But scientists have been clear there is no evidence chemtrail exists. And it's a hard experience. Being unprepared, hundreds of responses to, this tweet. Do not take us for idiots, said one. They dry us up, and you are the spokesperson for those who do it. This is why there's zero faith in humanity, all right? Zero faith. Get ready for a bumpy ride. DHS, Department of Homeland Security, warns of attack from government buildings, minority groups ahead of 2024 election. New bulletin points to recent incidences in public online communication to make a pulse of the current and most threatening terror threats in the United States. This is a shooting near Allen Mall. His mother's not happy. And there's going to be violence leading up to the 2024 election cycle that could target the nation's critical infrastructure, faith-based institutions, government facilities, and minority communities, according to the bulletin posted Wednesday. In the coming months, DHS expects the threat environment to remain heightened and that individuals may be motivated by violence by perceptions of the 24 election cycle. Legislative or judicial decisions pertaining to socio-political issues, yada yada. Basically, just hell. What it really is late-stage Rome. Look, I took European history in college just less than a decade ago, and I had to learn about the entire Byzantine Empire and Caesar and on and on. And look, all of the symptoms of a dying, decaying city of violence and corrupt politicians and financial problems, accounting issues, militarized police force, all the same. It's just a different time period, but it's the same thing going on. All right? A belligerent leader, who's accused and indicted. It's the same stuff. Okay? Jeez. Anthropocene's sixth mass extinction predicted to be worse than previously thought. This is not a settling image. It should have 10,000 shares at least. A trio of macrobiologists and life scientists, two with the Queen's University of Belfast and the third with Czech University of Life Scientist Prague, has found that the modern sixth mass extinction event is going to be worse than prior research has shown. Can it be much worse? Journal and Biological Reviews. These people analyzed trend data from more than 71,000 animal species to learn about their declines. Over the past several decades, it has become clear that global biodiversity has been declining due to human activities, including conversion of habitat, use of pesticides, herbicides, and more recently, climate change. It is not known how many species are extinct due to activities, but scientists have been trying to track. Okay, so 48% of species have been in declining populations, just 3% have been rising. And that's what you hear about in the news, They just want to point out the positive. Like 33% of species currently classified as non-threatening are actually spiraling towards extinction. Amphibians are seeing greatest drop in population, decline in birds, mammals, and insects. They found it is less severe among reptiles and fish. For now. They also found that the declines were steeper in the tropics, noting that species in such areas tend to be more sensitive to climate change. The team concludes the planet is approaching a mass extinction event far graver than prior research has suggested. All right. It's making our insects run for the hills. Another article in the Observer, the Guardian, my bad. And this is just tallying up how insects are making moves. Even just a few meters is a big deal for them. And, just how they're relocating because this stuff sucks. Because we don't care. Because Delta Airlines, yes, I've flown them a few times, hit with a lawsuit over claims of carbon neutrality. A consumer class action lawsuit filed Tuesday against Delta Airlines inaccurately billed itself as the world's first carbon neutral airline and showed to pay damages. Complaint federal court in California. Carbon offsets were largely bogus. You think? Company's a big customer purchasing credits from projects including wind and solar in India. Except they can. It's filed by this dude on behalf of anyone that flew since 2020. It said it would go carbon neutral 3 years ago, but It's not. Surprise! Furthermore, it is impossible to get home insurance, and all because of the climate crisis. Article written in The Guardian by Arai Madawi. The rise of wildfires means Californians can no longer insure their property. It's a sign of what's ahead to come for the whole housing market. What a pleasant image. Some boomer's home went up in flames. Oh. News didn't come out of nowhere. 2 large insurance firms in California ended their coverage for some multi-million-dollar homes. Oh well. It's almost impossible to get a mortgage. And then it's going to be on fire. Meanwhile, remember, our cryosphere is melting way faster than we expected. Insects and basically everything else is going extinct. But, and they lie to us, but CEO got smaller raises. It would still take a typical worker 2 lifetimes, which doesn't exist. All right, guys? To earn what they make. These guys, you know them. You're looking at you're listening to me on the device that they are making millions for. They and all their cronies. What you want to know is the facts. So, consumer inflation up since 2021 to 2022. Wages for us, not so much. Them, still not so much as us. But that doesn't matter because look how much more times money they make. Here from Live Nation, Apple, Broadcom, Netflix, American Express. This is the average employee, what they make. That looks equal. Yeah, that looks like a well-balanced society to me. Doesn't look like this at all. It's totally fine. This is insane. This is like beyond Andrew Carnegie levels of this is completely insane. All right? And then for most sectors, they got more money. Maybe just industrials went down and energy a little bit. But take, for instance, Tome's pay of UPS, 364 times higher than the 52,000 for the average UPS worker, minus taxes, more like 48, 47, maybe, or less, even though they say it's 95. All right, we'll take, for example, Tim Cook, number 3, valued at, with a compensation package of $99 million. He requested a 40% pay cut. Oh, and they're awarded in stock so they can buy back their own stocks and make more money. It's not really pay. They just care about stocks. You tell me where anyone's motivation comes from to participate in this broken system. Thanks for tuning in. This has been your May 31st update. I'll talk to you soon. See ya.